get some people in here. So hopefully we'll get as many people as we had last time, but it's a little later now, so maybe not. But we're going to recap today what happened. So hopefully we'll get a few people in here, and I'll play the video. But let me give a brief explanation about this man right here. This is Michael Rooney. He's an attorney here in California. And I have it right here. To be exact, it's this Michael Rooney here. If you can, well, I don't think we'll be able to see the light, but here, let me turn on some light here. Had it off so I could get a good picture of the video for the thumbnail. But it's this Michael Rooney right here, fighting for your legal rights. Isn't that nice? Fighting for your legal rights. So, that's Mr. Rooney. So today, Mr. Rooney, we had a conversation outside the Butte County Jail as I was leaving. And he explained to me that in the courtroom, after I left, this hearing with an attorney for that I filed a media request. Of course, he said in his opinion that I'm not media. Whatever. That's his opinion. It's different when the judge and the DA say that and try and make that, fact. They're public employees. He's not. So, Mr. Rooney, he says, they were talking about you in the courtroom. Yeah, I know that. They talk about me all the time. And then he said, they told me how you truly felt about me. And that, let me make sure I have it, because I tried to get the body cameras going as soon as possible, but it was on standby, and it took a minute to, after 10 minutes it goes to sleep, and it takes a couple seconds to get started. He said, I should sue you. And I'm like, okay, for what? But I said, well, then do it. Don't tell me you should. Do it. That's, not professional rules of conduct. And, but he said it's not worth it because, I live with my parents and I have no money. So, and he told me to go fuck myself. Fuck you, he said. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture that. But I was able to capture our conversation right after he said "fuck you." But we got a retaliation on camera, and I'll get into more of that. But here's the video. Make sure the audio is up. We start. Whoops. Don't want to start in the middle of it. We want to start from the beginning. All right. Here we go. Yeah, exactly.
As far as suing.
Yeah.
But thanks for the legal advice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so weird, dude.
Why don't I report you to the bar for threatening you? Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Why are you so weird? That sounds like you're discriminating against me. Why am I so weird? What do you mean weird? What, because I engage in my constitutional rights and I actually engage in legal rights that you're supposed to fight for? Is that what's weird? You're violating rules of professional conduct right now.
I don't threaten people.
Yeah, well then you said, you know what, Mr. Rooney? You know what, Mr. Rooney? You are a disgraceful man. You made a mockery and asked me to call you and said call me. I called you twice. You never returned my phone calls. You called me a liar. I asked you to explain yourself and you never, well then good. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Did you hear what he just said there? Let's rewind that. I asked you to explain yourself, and you never. You done fucked up, Rooney. You fucked up. He said, ladies and gentlemen, leave me alone, or I'll get that officer to bother you. That is in retaliation, engaging in retaliatory behavior. That is retaliation on the record right there. And one more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear that. one more time.
I called you twice. You never returned my phone calls. You called me a liar. I asked you to explain yourself, and you never. Well, then good. Is that a threat? You're a scam artist, Rooney. You're 10,000 retarded scammer.
Retainer scammer. Yeah, can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? $10,000 to retain that ass clown. And I hope he's watching this. Because if that's how you act, I would never pay you a dime. But you're not the first person that's told me you've taken a $10,000 retainer and, ran with it and did nothing. And let's play the body cam footage after the assault, ladies and gentlemen. Asking why I'm shaking. Clips there. Well, actually, ladies and gentlemen, you saw this on the live stream. Let me see.
What the?
I know exactly what's going on. The description person she gave me matches you.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm the only one around here with a suit and fedora.
Okay. Well, I mean, it didn't capture the assault, unfortunately. I reviewed the live stream and it did stall, but you heard him, me tell him not to put his hands. Yeah, let me hear that one more time.
Free to go right now.
Yeah, then are you going to touch me?
Let's hear that again.
You had this man here commit a battery against me. I should be placing him in handcuffs for battery. Because I asked him multiple times to state what I was being detained for. He said I wasn't being detained, and then when I walk away, he grabs my arm.
You realize you're free to go right now.
Yeah.
See, ladies and gentlemen, how he deflects the question? You see how he deflects that? How I questioned him on, well, if I'm not detained, why are you putting your hands on me? Oh, well, you're free to go right now. You see how he Sergeant Allen there deflects the question. Let's hear that one more time. Me explaining, because, ladies and gentlemen, I should have the rights to citizens arrest that officer, put him in handcuffs for committing a battery against me, a misdemeanor.
All right, and I want this. Can we have this woman identified? Because I want her potentially charged with 148.5.
Yeah, well, we're not going to do that.
Well, she's wasting your time, my time,
No, she's
and
not wasting my
resources.
time.
You had this man here commit a battery against me. I should be placing him in handcuffs for battery. Because I asked him multiple times to state what I was being detained for. He said I wasn't being detained, and then when I walk away, he grabs my arm.
You realize you're free to go right now.
Yeah.
See, you realize you're free to go right now. See, don't answer the question, deflect, well, we're not going to talk about the battery that commit. You're free to go right now. You see, because he doesn't have an answer, because you cannot justify that battery. You cannot justify having him, say on the live stream there, ladies and gentlemen, oh, you're not being detained right now. And then I walk away, he grabs his hand. Unfortunately, the stream froze because my low battery, getting low down in the 20% range or whatever it was, and the heat on the phone. But the audio is clear as day. I heard him say, it's recorded, you're not being detained right now. And as I leave, he grabs my hand, and I explain this to the sergeant. Oh, you're free to go. You're free to go. Let's not mention anything about that, right?
Bye. Are you going to touch me?
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Have a nice day. Fuck you.
Dude, that's what I wanted to do from the get-go, you motherfucker. Jesus. Don't ever put your fucking hands on me again without reasonable articulable suspicion of detainment. Fucking idiots. We'll be doing a records request. Tomorrow I will be doing a report.
And where's that white lady,
because we have
too?
been here doing,
I want to show you the white lady, ladies and gentlemen.
Good.
Oh, yeah, here's the woman, the cop caller, I believe.
Excuse me, ma'am. Did you call the sheriff's on me? They said some lady said...
if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, there's...
My kids are here.
Okay.
I don't want to talk to you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure because I just want to ask, but that's your statement, but thank you anyways. Because you're the only lady, and I'm like, well, if it's... Yeah, that's what I mean, so, they just say a lady, and I'm like, well, you got to be more specific than that. But, yeah, well, when they put hands on me, they should, and then say I'm not detained. But...
Yeah, you hear that lady say, well, my kids are right here. I don't want to deal with this. And then how she stopped afterwards, that was a court employee. She had a lanyard on, ladies and gentlemen. Well, my kids are right here. Well, you know what? Why don't you think about that every time you rob and extort people for money at the Butte County Courthouse, and they have to bring their, I go to the courthouse, ladies and gentlemen. People have to bring their kids to court because they can't afford daycare or private babysitters to pay for, babysitting while they go to court. It's expensive, okay? My kids are here. Fuck your kids, lady. Why don't you care about the other kids you drag into court? And maybe not make false reports. But we're going to find out indefinitely tomorrow. That's if they even give me the call. They might cite the government code crap of, we can't release it because, it's under investigation, or, they have a whole long list of excuses under the 6254F of the government code there. But yeah, they pretty much, that's the end of really the confrontation there. But yeah, you can clearly see Mr. Rooney engaging in retaliatory behavior. I will get that officer to bother you. So let me step outside here, ladies and gentlemen, where we can have a nice little chat, because I want to go over some things here. So give me a second here. Step outside. Have a nice little evening chat. Thank you all for tuning in today and joining me in the live stream earlier. We had 23 people, I think was the highest count, and I looked and saw we already have 200 some views. So here, let's see if I can get this set up, if it's going to work correctly. Hopefully you guys can see me. Set this up here. I'm going to set hey everybody. Alright. So, this all stems from, get that. There we go. Yes, hi Ivan Peters, Jason K. NZ, Jason K. NZ Audits. Thanks for tuning in, all 6 of you. I have California court rules here. It's a little dark here, unfortunately. But I'll go ahead and read now that I have the paperwork in my hand. They're the full entire definition of what I was mentioning earlier here. But we'll start here with the introduction here, which is 2020 California Rules of Court. 0.150 Photographing, Recording, and Broadcasting in Court. A. Introduction. The judiciary is responsible for ensuring the fair and equal administration of justice. The judiciary judicates, conservatives, or however that's pronounced. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, on some of this legal jargon they pronounce. The big words. But here we go. Both civil and criminal, in accordance with established legal procedures, in the calmness and solemnity of the courtroom, photographing, recording, and broadcasting of courtroom proceedings may be permitted as circumscribed in this rule if executed in a manner that ensures the fairness and dignity of the proceedings are not adversely affected. This rule does not create a presumption for or against granting permission to photograph, record, or broadcast court proceedings. So let's get into B here, definitions. And I'll go over 1 before we get to 2, the main thing. I'm here driving. Hey, 420 RU2. Oh, now as soon as I start, now we went from 6 to 2, now to 4, but figures as soon as I start talking the law and reading, people log out. 1 here, definitions B. 1, media coverage means any photographing, recording, or broadcasting of court proceedings by the media using television, radio, photographic, or recording equipment. 2, media or media agency means any person or organization engaging in news gathering or reporting and includes any newspaper, radio, or television station or network, news service, magazine, trade paper, in-house publication, professional journal, or other news reporting or news gathering agency. And that's what I fall under, ladies and gentlemen. Or other news reporting or news gathering agency. And that's what they don't want to respect and uphold my right. But really, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, some people may not agree with this. This might be too open-minded for them, but this right here is all illegal. The fact that I even have to request permission to use my constitutionally protected right to freedom of the press in a public courtroom that's open to the public, that anybody can come in and sit and observe proceedings. Why do I need permission to exercise my First Amendment right? I mean, Mulberry Madison already ruled that, you can't, if I'm citing the correct case there, you cannot convert a right into a privilege. So, if I have the right to be free in my freedom of the press, to say I have to get permission to use my protected rights, it's infringing upon it. And we even have California Penal Code 148 subsection G. Okay, let's play hardball here. We have Penal Code 148 subsection D that states that, that's the penal code for resisting arrest. But in that penal code, it states in that subsection that a person making a recording of a public officer in a place that he or she has the right to be, in a public place, is not a crime and cannot be considered reasonable articulable suspicion to detain a person. But then you have Penal Code 166, the penal code for contempt of court, where, basically the judge says, if the judge says anything, if the judge says stand on one leg and you said no, that's direct contempt because the judge ordered you to do so, okay? And these so-called rules are not voted on by we the people in any way, shape, or form, but they're issued by these judicial officers, these people in black robes. And for those of you aware that I was just recently down in Orange County last month for the trial of Nicholas Wildstar. The black robed wizards, yes, exactly. They're all part of this mysterious cult. They all operate in secrecy. They put on their robes and feel they have supernatural powers, very draconian things. But I digress here, we're getting off topic. I was recently down in Orange County in February for the trial of Nicholas Wildstar for recording in court, his own court matters, and he was looking at 6 years. The jury found him guilty on all counts. And the judge just ended up giving him 1 year of probation, 30 days in the county jail suspended with 9 days time served. Granted, he doesn't violate probation, 40 hours of community service, and a $570 fine. Of course, he's appealing that, as any reasonable person would, for exercising your constitutional right. But the judge was like, well, I hope you understand that there's a clarification now of the penal code. It only pertains to resisting arrest. And that's the thing is, attorneys don't want to fight for your rights like that. I mean, granted, Mrs. Hemming, some people have an unfavorable opinion about her. I mean, what's known out there is known, but, granted, in the closing argument, she tried to bring up Penal Code 148G, and they objected to that. And afterwards, we were talking, and she stated that that's very unusual that there's any sort of objections in closing arguments. And then at the end, the judge, normally says thank you on behalf of we the people. This time he said, thank you on behalf of all the judges. We thank you. So it's a real fight. So and they don't want to create case law, because if he was found not guilty, which jurors, if you're a potential juror, jury nullification, your job is not to send people to jail, it's to make sure bad laws are not enforced, okay? And that was a non-victimless, non-violent crime. And if he would have been found not guilty, case law would have been created that here in California, anyways, in our circuit, would have protected people from recording, from getting arrested and harassed for being judicial officers in court. But because he was found guilty, now we're hoping appeals will see a different story, and we will get that case law. But this is the retaliation you get when you try and exercise your rights. So I shouldn't even have to fill out a form. I shouldn't have to, go through all these rules. But I play hardball with them, okay? And they want to say that I don't meet the definition of media. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard me read to you what California rules of court define as media. And that is, let's read it again just to make sure here. I'll be quick. Media or media agency means any person or organization engaging in news gathering or reporting, and includes any newspaper or radio or television station or network news service, magazine, trade paper, in-house publication, professional journal, or other news reporting or news gathering agency. And that's what a YouTube channel can be. An other news reporting or news gathering agency. I'm sorry you don't want to recognize that, but that's the law. And to go into, Philadelphia on them, no matter how you come to judge Miss Ruse and Mr. Greason, morally and in human terms, the fact of the matter is, when they said I wasn't media and I didn't meet the definition of California court rules for media, they broke the law. And they deprived me of my rights. I mean, not only did they violate, my rights, under, 42 USC 1983 and 42 USC 1985, because all these other people involved, it's conspiracy by two or more to commit deprivation of rights in this county. Not only to mention, they violated, the California Bain Act. If I remember, it's either Civil Code 50.1 or 52.1. But, that's no matter any person, whether or not they're acting under the color of law, engages in deprivation of a civil liberty of another, is, can be fined $25,000 of a civil penalty. And they don't care about that. And that's not out of we people's pocket. That's out of their pocket directly. And that's another thing that this new, the Bain Act it's fairly new, but attorneys are not fighting for that. That law was created, and it's really hard to fight for that. And it should be a slam dunk case, but, the Bain Act, even though it's created, it's barely getting fought for. Attorneys don't want to fight, especially in this county when there's a 92% conviction rate. And, Mr. Weed's case, the gentleman whose attorney retaliated against he was, seemed to me he was pretty done with the matter. He was planning on firing Mr. Rooney, but he just ended up pleading no contest. He was looking at 5 years, as he agreed to plead no contest to the one count. They dismissed the other charges. If he agreed to that, he's looking at 5 years. He has no strikes, so he's going to get time and a half, and he's already been in the Butte County Jail for over a year. So he's looking about a year and a half or so, maybe 2 years in either county jail or state prison. But that's, that sort of becomes the prisoner's dilemma, if you've ever heard that term. Either take a deal and get out in 2 years, or go to a jury trial, potentially get found not guilty and face a maximum of 13 years. So, but $10,000 retainer just to end up doing that, the last week in court, he made a point to turn around to me. I can't communicate to him, ladies and gentlemen. If I talk to the defendant in custody, I will be charged with a crime. But he made it a point to turn around and go to me. He said, this guy's a joke, man. Because he was asking for a refund, because he wanted to back out when he found out some information that was submitted a day before the court hearing. Even though it's been around supposedly all this time, he just now found out about it. So that's the prisoner's dilemma. And they, even though that man is, I believe he's not guilty. It seems to me Orville Police Department got into a police chase and they didn't catch the guy and they did a sloppy job not recording anything. And so they just picked a scapegoat, somebody that had priors for Grand Theft Auto, and just pinned it on him and said, well, let's pin it on this guy. He's got a history. We don't like him. Because from what I've discovered, just things are not adding up. Witness statements, the pursuit route, things just don't make sense. Especially when somebody tells me they saw a blonde person when somebody that is in custody that they say is one who did all of this has black hair. So either he was wearing a wig or he had his hair dyed and he shaved it all off. But the simplest answer is usually the right one, and that's that I believe somebody that wasn't him with blonde hair was driving. Just unfortunately, I guess they either, I don't believe, honestly, the investigator may or may not have gone down there, but something's not right. When these people I interviewed openly tell me, oh yeah, there was security cam footage, but there was a corruption issue. This guy, tells me, the owner told me about the security cam footage, but this employee, it was going so fast because when you got somebody passing by you at 50 miles an hour, and unless you're looking at them head on, from a long distance, if you will, on a straight road, someone just going past you sideways, speeding 50 miles an hour, you can't get a good look at them, necessarily make out specifically who it is, but someone who has long blonde hair running down them, of course, yeah, that's something you'd probably be able to see as, they're driving away and you look at them. But apparently that employee I spoke to, what the defendant, the week before that, last week, the day before the court hearing, he called me on the phone and said that the investigator went down there and apparently that employee that I interviewed doesn't exist. But thinking back on it, I right across the street from this muffler shop was a Burger King, a few weeks back, and I went and grabbed a quick bite to eat there. I had a coupon, and while I was waiting in the drive-through, since it's right across the street from that place where this chase allegedly went through, I saw that same individual out there having a cigarette. I'm like, oh, that's the guy I talked to. Glad to see he's still working there. That he's still there if he needs to be talked to. And then to be told that that guy doesn't exist, well, something's not right here. Either they're lying, the so-called people that are, I don't want to say the muffler people are lying, because why would they be so open in the beginning and tell me all this just to say that, oh, I wasn't there. So I believe the attorney, something's going on there. Something's not right. Especially when he says, I'm weird. Well, you're fucking weird, Rooney. If you're watching that, you're a weirdo. That's weird of you to say, you need to get your facts, you need to get your information right. Okay, what case? What did I get wrong? Is this pertaining to Mr. Weed's matter or Mr. Page's matter? Oh, call me. Give me a call. Well, that was kind of weird. If you're so confident I got my facts incorrect, you should be able to say right there, you got such and such info wrong. That's what you got wrong, not, oh, give me a call. What kind of defense is that? This guy's an attorney? I mean, will you go in court, the judge, so Mr. Rooney, what evidence do you have to argue your client's innocent? Give me a call, Your Honor. What a joke. As Mr. Weed said, this man is a joke. So I hope he does sue me. But he won't, because as Bunny Boots stated in the live stream earlier, he would make a fool of himself. He would make a fool. This is but back to the conviction rate in this county, ladies and gentlemen. Even though that man is innocent, he's just tired of being in jail. He took the plea deal. They consider that a conviction. Even whether or not he's guilty, innocent, they just see that as a conviction. He's just a number to maintain that percentage rate. To say, we got a 92% conviction rate. Look at all the criminals we're getting off the street. Look at how good we are. There's no crime in this county. You know, it's sad. Exactly. Exactly 420 are you too? And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. These attorneys, when you become a member of the bar and all this crap, you agreed to essentially a gag order. You agree to all these rules that you got to follow and procedures and all this red tape. Um, and that's what they don't like about me is the fact that they have to go and do all this, jump through hoops before they can go and interview somebody. And all I do is, you know, okay, what person you want me to talk to? Okay, do you have an address for this person? Okay, I'll go and ask him some questions. Knock, knock. Hey, my name is so-and-so, Cameraman Investigations. I'm investigating such and such case. I would like to talk to you for a few minutes if you have a moment to spare. You know, oh, they got to hire a private investigator, do all this crap, and pay him $150 an hour to be a face. If you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen, to be a face, just to show up, not really do anything, but just to be there. Um, you know, and that's what they don't like, is the fact that I engage in my constitutional rights, and I try and live as a free person, a free man. And that's what they don't like. And maybe that's what they realized is, fuck, maybe after all these years, what did I do with my life? Was it really worth selling my soul out to the devil for a 3-figure salary? But, all my freedoms are taken away and I got it, I wonder if these people ever had a conscience at one point, ladies and gentlemen, and thought, wow, speaking of that, ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks back, Judge Merrifield of all people, she had the audacity in the courtroom because a gentleman filed a habeas corpus, and she said, after this information coming to light, I'm not comfortable with proceeding with this hearing right now because I'm not comfortable potentially sending an innocent man to prison. Oh, so it's not okay to do it to this man, but it's okay to do it to other people that I'm working, cases that I'm involved in. So just a blatant hypocrisy, openly mocking in the courtroom, as if you've seen that My Cousin Vinny movie. Are you mocking me with that outfit, Mr. Gambini? Mocking you? No, Judge. Openly mocking. So yeah, and really, ladies and gentlemen, we wouldn't be having this discussion, and there wouldn't have been the live stream that there was today, if it wasn't for Jeff Greason or Ruse. But I believe it strongly. It was I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's brainwashing thing. I honestly think they believe they're doing the right thing. They also exactly, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see. Who said that there? You've been it rolled, if I said that correctly. Yeah, exactly. It's systematic brainwashing. Condition you. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right. Good job. And it's really sad, ladies and gentlemen. I see people with their kids coming to court to fight for charges, and it's and with this COVID thing right now going on, there's no due process. They're continuing people out, not giving them a right to a speedy trial, and they're using the COVID as an excuse to commit deprivations of rights. But back to Mr. Greason, anyways. So, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you want to, as free individuals, exercise, I already left him a message today, couple hours ago, but if any of you watching this want to exercise your constitutionally protected right to seek redress from government officials for grievances, feel free to contact Mr. Greason at area code 530-538-6606 and ask him what is the definition of media or media agency in compliance of California Rules of Court 1.150, and ask him why why did you mouth off about the cameraman to rile Mr. Rooney up to make him engage in an act of retaliation against him. And ask him too, why is he feel free, ladies and gentlemen, ask him, why is he recording phone calls of inmates that are representing themselves. When they say right there in court, you have to follow the same rules as an attorney and bound by the rules and all that. Well, they have rights too to have confidential phone calls on the phone. And the difference is I'm not a direct family member. I'm an independent investigative journalist. So even though we do have a little personal conversation in between, we do talk business on there. Okay, just because he asks me how I'm doing or I tell him about my day, he's still human. He's still a man, you know. He still has feelings. Trapped up in a jail all day. Of course you want to know what's going on in the outside world. And we have our personal opinions, but he still asks, did you do this? Did you go over talk to so-and-so? Bottom line is, he has a right to confidential phone calls as a person representing himself. So you need to explain that. So yeah, hopefully, engage in your protected right. Maybe he'll give you a call back. Most likely he will not. I wouldn't hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen. But feel free to use your rights as citizens to seek redress for grievances. And if you get a response from Mr. Greason, let me know. I definitely would like to hear it. And again, that number is 530 area code 538-6606. That's District Attorney, Deputy District Attorney Jeff Greason. So feel free to leave him a message. I believe he has a fax number, but unfortunately, I don't have a fax number for him. But I know there's a fax number for I believe there was a fax number on Mr. Rooney's card on the beginning of the live stream, just to make sure. That's that Michael Rooney fighting for your rights. And he gave me that business card when I thought it was going to be a positive relationship, ladies and gentlemen, but he ended up being a psychopath, a two-faced, someone that, says I'm weird but can't explain himself, and his only argument is, give me a call, please. And speaking of calls, ladies and gentlemen, been going on for about almost 40 minutes now, about 20 seconds, so I'm going to wrap it up. Not as many people tuning in as there was earlier, but thank you all for tuning in. I will read chat briefly before I tune off and respond to any comments. Speaking of calls, that was some weird shit. That was freaking weird. First, the deputy, first, 2 unmarked units and 1 marked unit all roll up on me. And then the first deputy's all, oh, why are you recording the courthouse, out in the courthouse? But then it turned into, from the sergeant, oh, well, we got a call that some lady said you're gonna blow up the courthouse. I mean, come on, really? I've been live streaming the whole time, and you're gonna come out there with that? I mean, if anything, you should have just rolled with the filming excuse. That would have been more believable, that somebody called me in about filming, but to say that I was going to blow up the courthouse? Come on, man. As Joe Biden would say, come on, man. I mean, really? Really? With my notoriety, why would I throw all of this away, ladies and gentlemen? Why would I mean, yeah, I hope they would release the 911 call, but of course they'll never do that. They'll cite the government code. It's under investigation or some excuse to not let me hear what they had to say. Or most likely there was never a call, or just there'll be some excuse as to why it couldn't be released, or blah, blah, blah. That's how it is at the Butte County Sheriff's Department, ladies and gentlemen. The records are tighter. Okay, I need to stop myself right there, ladies and gentlemen. I was about to say a very, maybe a joke that would have been a little too far, but let's just put it this way. They're very tight about what they do and do not release at the Butte County Sheriff's Department when it comes to public records. So, hopefully they'll release it, but most likely they won't. But, because when you because ladies and gentlemen, I may be downplaying it because I'm used to this, and, I know how to handle myself around the deputies there when they're acting up.
But, this woman, for all I know, her intent was to call the sheriff on me to have me executed and killed. That's a reality we have to live with, ladies and gentlemen. By she I know I didn't say that I was going to blow up Courthouse, but somewhere in her mind, she heard that I said I threatened to blow up the courthouse, and called law enforcement on me. It seemed like to me her intent was to have some sort of altercation between me and law enforcement happening by reporting that false information. Um, and that could have resulted in my death. Okay, when you send, thank God, I'm notorious, and they know me around there. Okay, but when you're calling law enforcement and you're reporting that, that can get me killed. Okay, that can very well end up in me losing my life. All it takes is for someone to say, "Oh, I feared for my life," and bam, 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 I'm dead in the middle of the street. Okay, when you call law enforcement, you're potentially sending people to kill a person, and I wish people would understand that when they call 911. Uh, you know, um, Regardless of, I've seen some of the outcomes and how. I'll give you an example. Most recently in Nevada County, there was a shooting involving a woman who pulled out a knife and said "Allahu Akbar" at the police. Of course, I believe that they were justified in shooting at her when she charged at them with a knife, but if the fucking people just would have minded their own business, because the call originally started as this woman was walking down the street with her kids, and I guess there was a dog running around, which in rural communities like here in Butte County and Nevada County and all these other Northern California community counties where there's not lots of sidewalks. I mean, look at Butte County and the county areas outside of Oroville. There's pretty much no sidewalks. You'll be walking out on the shoulder of the road somewhere. But so I guess because the woman had her kids and she's walking on the shoulder of the road, that's we need to call the police to check on her because she's not well. And the woman stated there was a dog running around again. Here in, not that people should have their dogs running around loose and uncontrolled, but again, up here in Northern California and some of these rural areas, people don't secure their pets and they let them roam around. And I guess she wasn't involved with that dog, but that's why this woman called in. She's kids walking on the side of the road and there's a dog running around, and she started following this woman, and it appeared the woman had some. I'm not a doctor. I don't know for sure if she had mental instability or what, but this woman followed this woman, and that woman went up to somebody's house and asked to be taken to Nevada, and she said, "Nevada City? No, the state line." And that caused that other woman to be concerned and called the police on her as well. And then, this what happened happened. But I looked at that situation and I'm like, well, I didn't see anything, wrong. All I hear is a call. There's a woman walking down the street and there was a dog running around. Okay, well, who has had their life, liberty, or property damaged, stolen? Who was deprived of life, liberty, property, or rights? All I heard walking down the street. Again, some of these situations could be avoided if people just mind their own business, but that's the propaganda that's pushed. If you see something, say something. Even though, because the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, suspicion is subjective. Some people may find somebody walking down the road with a big red nose and a clown wig and clown shoes. Another person may find that to be normal behavior. Maybe that's somebody getting an old-timey telegram by a birthday clown or something. So, what you may find suspicious is apples to oranges, okay? And that's the thing. Suspicion is not a crime, but it can get you killed. That's for sure. So, if the woman if she didn't understand what's going on, just mind your own fucking business. Don't call the police and make up a story to get me killed. That's not cool. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. When you're calling the sheriff to investigate something, you may get that person killed. If you see something, say something. Needs to go away, just like the police unions in qualified immunity. Exactly. And if you want that, vote for Nicholas Wildstar, gubernatorial candidate here in California. He wants to do away with qualified immunity in the state. And I agree. I was hearing a song, Qualified Immunity. It's not for you, it's just for me. I shot your wife, I shot your dog. I get to go on with my life. Oh, no, that's right. I shot your dog, I shot your wife. I get to go on with my life. See? But, normal people like you and me, we don't get qualified immunity. So if we fuck up, and we get held accountable for murder. So, but that was clearly retaliation, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, really, of all people, I'm going to blow up the courthouse. Ridiculous. And there will be a complaint filed tomorrow morning at the Butte County Sheriff's Department regarding this incident. There will be a public records request placed for the call. I highly doubt I'll get it, but there will be a request and inquiry made, and these people are going to be held accountable. This behavior is going to come to an end, and you're going to have to deal with a more abrasive cameraman, because today I think we had a straw that broke the camel's back. So, get ready to more recording, if you will. So, thank you all for tuning in this evening. Give Mr. Greason a call. Exercise your right to petition government for redress of grievances. Let me know if you get a response. And briefly here, let me go over the chat and respond to anybody. Start at the beginning here. Oh wow, it's a long chat. Rudy, greetings all. Come on, you can actually expect them to moderate. Legal titans, yes, exactly. It's all about preserving the status and importance of those legal titans. Broadcast. Yeah, exactly. They broadcast it now. Across the flat earth, go figure. You can actually expect them to play by the rules? Of course not. They don't play by the rules. No accountability. Yeah, exactly. The hippies and Black Panthers tried to beat the government at its own game. They don't have to play by the same rules we do. The problem is you are transparent totally, unlike mainstream media that puts a favorable spin for law enforcement. Good point, 420RU2. We can't expect people to have respect for law and order until we teach respect we have entrusted to enforce those laws. Hunter S. Thompson, good quote. Go to law and change things for the better. You'd make a damn good lawyer. Yes, definitely. Defeat the judicial industry complex with a continuous supply of bodies. Yes, Ivan Peters. Matter of fact, Mr. Wildstar's case, the attorney, Miss Hemming, made it a point that they said they want their pound of flesh. So that is true. Continuous supply of bodies. Been trolled. Yes, exactly. You have the right to face your accuser. I'll find his fax number. California has to have some of the worst cops I ever seen. You bet it. Definitely. Snowflakes. What was her name? I don't know what the woman's name was. They just said they had a call from a lady. The cops don't peek at enough IDs. The day the lady was shot, they should have just left her alone. Right. I don't call the cops. My Second Amendment rights haven't been taken away by the police yet. Exactly. Exactly. You have a right to defend yourself. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, 2005 case court ruling, the Supreme Court ruled the police don't have to protect you. Most recently affirmed in 2018 when the Parkland shooting happened and the students tried to sue the sheriff's department over there because that officer failed to protect, that deputy stood outside and failed to protect those students, and the judge rejected it and cited that ruling that they don't have an obligation to protect you. And the last comment here, you've been trolled. I think
We should dissolve police. We need a capitalist option with competition. Competition makes for a better product. Police are an absolute failure of a security product. Definitely. That is true. If you want your property protected, hire a private security guard. Don't hire the police. Because, I mean, literally, they won't protect the property until it's been stolen after the fact. So I've been going for almost an hour now, 50 minutes now. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I wanted to recap and show you Mr. Rooney in his true colors now that I was able to put that on the big screen, take it off the body camera, let you guys see it. So, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I might do a quick live stream tomorrow after I go to the sheriff's department and file that paperwork, that complaint, and that records request, and give you a brief update. But until then, thank you all for tuning in, and good night. Good night from Cameraman Investigations. This is the cameraman signing off. Good night, California.